waste
They
of money.
saw, oh, the weather report said it's gonna
Okay,
be
the microphones are
75
on and the camera's on, so.
Okay, I'll stop complaining about being
degrees.
Stop whining.
No, like how cold I am. So cold, you have no idea.
All
Think
right,
of it. I told I was going on strike if they didn't fix the heat.
1 minute. 1 minute. So, start.
It'll take me a minute to get up there, so.
Oh, there you go. That sounds
Is that one on?
Oh, heard that.
It is.
Do we have to stand up there?
Yours is not on.
If you could, it gets you
Is it closed?
in the camera, so
Press the button.
the broadcast picture.
But if I sit, you can't see me.
If you sit, you're squarely in the view of the camera.
And we can move the microphone.
But from behind.
Yeah.
down.
I'm joking, do you want me up there?
You have to pick one place.
You have to ask the budget committee chair.
Oh, I'm not
We
joking.
thought about moving this to Telly's, what do you think?
Then there were no
Wherever you're
people.
most comfortable, obviously, except not there.
Okay.
Whichever, I mean,
Sit.
I'm joking.
You're good.
Okay, it is 7 o'clock, October 1st in the town of Lee. So we're gonna start the ABC meeting. I'm gonna turn it over to our chair of the ABC.
Kobe Trotter. All right, I'd like to welcome Linda Reinhold, our town clerk and town collector. She'll be reporting out on her budget this evening.
Okay. Oh, I did not expect to be here again. So, just go, right?
Yeah.
Yes, just go.
We're happy you're here.
Thank you so much for coming back.
Again.
We really appreciate it.
Yes.
It's been, yeah. So, as far as elections and elections go, this year, or excuse me, in fiscal year '26, there is one election and one deliberative, as compared to '25, which were 3 elections, 1 deliberative, '24, 2 elections, 1 deliberative session. So obviously that reduces the amounts that are being proposed in '26. The line item moderator salary, assistant moderator, supervisors of the checklist, ballot clerks, meeting expense notices. The printing, I know, I'm not sure why fiscal year '25 had $5,600, because it reflects printing of town ballots, the program memory card, and the maintenance of the machine. So that should run about and it all depends on how many ballots there have to be, if there's more than, so you've got the candidate ballot, then you've got the article ballots, so the articles could be 1 or 2 sided, that sort of thing. So anyway, I put in $3,000, that's kind of what it's been running. The equipment's line, the bottom line, last year, or for 2025, $7,000. That $7,000 is to purchase a new ballot machine, which the state is recommending to do. I think Liz probably explained all this. I am not real up to speed on any of it at this moment, but I put the $10,000 as a placeholder. Hopefully before you finish the budget hearing, I'll be able to give you more information, but one of the things is I'm not sure of the time frame when purchasing the ballot machine, which the state has said it's about $7,000. If it doesn't happen in fiscal year '25 and we don't have the invoice for it yet, then it's going to fall off. So that's why I added into '26. There's also these electronic check-in devices, or I think they're like laptops, which are, but I couldn't get a cost for what they would be. And those would be used at the check-in and again, I don't know whether Liz talked about this at all. My understanding is they would be used in place of, or alongside the manual checkbooks or check-ins. But what happens at the end of the night, instead of waiting for everyone, which is the critical time, well, it takes the most time at the end of election, which could take up to, I don't know, half an hour, for us to finally balance the checkbooks. Obviously, it's a laptop, it's a computerized, you hit a button, it gives you the answer right at there. So that would cut, it's supposed, it will be more accurate. But again, I'm not clear on how that works yet. So I just put the 10,000 in there because I don't know. If and when I have time, I will do more research on it, but at this moment I don't have answers on that. Under the 4141 election registration, so this is the town clerk tax collector's office. I'm going to skip over the wages for a minute. I'm going to move down to the lien searches. That depends on how many properties are going to be liened as to what it's going to cost, but it seems to run around the $1,700. The software is the tax software and the what we call ClerkWorks. Well, it's not. It's ClerkWorks, which covers the registrations, titles, dogs, point of sales, which include any other income that the office has, and vital records. That obviously every year goes up, so I put it in at $9,800. Legal notices, those go up also. Training, under the training, I split out the training, and if you go down to conference, in the past, training has included the conferences that town clerk, tax collectors go to. There's a town clerk conference and a tax collector conference. So I split it out and take away the travel. Travel usually falls under the mileage. So that's why if you add those two together, it comes to $1,350, which would be the total of the training. I hope that makes sense. Mileage obviously has been going up. I'm not sure why there's only $900 for the fiscal year 25, because if you travel to the bank 52 times, well, I figured it 52 trips because you have to go the day after we take money in, that comes to $1,300 right there. And then you've got conference travel as well, so that's why I put in $1,800. And in fiscal year 24, you see that it was 2,000. And postage keeps going up, so I anticipated another rate increase, 8,000. Okay, so now going back to wages. The salary for the town clerk tax collector, who will be voted in next year in March, I put the salary in at 65,000. That's what it was at for 25. What the board decides to pay the person, I think that's their decision, but I put it in at 65 because that's where it was last year. So then we come to, okay, hopefully, and this is all projection. Hopefully we hire someone as the assistant. Hopefully maybe December, maybe January of, well, December of this year, January of next year. assuming that we do, it's going to take, it can take anywhere to 5 to 7 months to get this person trained to be promoted to deputy. So what I did, I put a placeholder in here, well, not a placeholder, excuse me. I put in that it would take from July of *25 to December for this person to get up and running, which would be half of what, if you can follow me, half of what the '25 budget is for the deputy. So that's why I put in 16,744. Then at that time, when they are ready and you make them deputy, this would be at $23 an hour. When they get promoted to deputy, they become $25 an hour. The other, you're going to say something?
I think one of the things, Linda and I had talked about this several times, and one of the things that I think is important with regard to the numbers that she's put in here is unless we have a very well-seasoned town clerk, tax collector move into town between now and March, we are not going to get anybody with experience, because you have to be a resident of the town, and Linda has been the town clerk for a long, long time. So I encourage Linda to put enough money in there to keep her on for as long as she can stand to stay, to help train the new person that comes in. So that's why there's a deputy amount there and an assistant amount.
So in the deputy wages, because when the town clerk is, and I say when, in March gets voted in, obviously I can't be the town clerk, so I would step down to deputy. Worst case scenario, this number that you're looking at under deputy is for me to be here from July of next year to December, so that it's 6-month period. That is the worst case scenario. I am hoping that if we get an assistant in, the earlier the assistant comes in to be able to train up to deputy, could happen in you know, like September timeframe, August, September, depending on the person. Same with and then I'm also training the town clerk tax collector. There again, it could take 5 months, 6 months to get that person trained. It's the point that we feel that they're ready, that I can walk out. So I don't think it will be December. I hope it won't be December. The sooner I can walk out and let them on their own, that would be great. But this is the worst case scenario. And so what I did was I took half of my salary that I'm making now, so that would be 6 months, added it into the deputy wages, as well as when the assistant moves up to the deputy.
Okay, so, I'm sorry, let me just see if I can summarize. So the deputy wages are 6 months of your salary, plus 6 months of a new deputy salary at $25 an hour.
That is correct.
Okay,
Thank you. Sorry.
no, that's okay, so make sure I got it all right down.
And that assistant from the 24-year expended, that came from sort of a holdover from when Liz was a split position before she was town clerk, if I recollect.
How many hours per week does this reflect the deputy working, not you, the other person?
The deputy works, well, we both work. The office is open 26 hours a week.
Yeah, but,
Open, and then once we close and we come in early to open. So it's about 28 hours
Okay.
a week. Then there's also election. If you have an election, that's about a 14 to 16 hour day. The deliberative is about, well, it's not even 3 hours, I think. And then you've also got hours for both of these, the town clerk will be salaried, but the deputy will be, there's training that they have to go to. There's the town clerk, new town clerk training, which is a 2-day session. There's a new tax collector. So there's other hours, and then they also go to the conferences, the town clerk conference, and that's a full day. Tax collector is a full day. Then there's spring workshops. So there's more hours that are added to the,
And if they start to work towards accreditation, that's another 5 days.
I would not recommend that in the beginning,
Yeah.
personally. I think that they need to focus on the job at hand and later on get accredited. That's my personal take on it, but once I'm not here, it doesn't matter. But yes, you are correct. But I did not add the accreditation in to fiscal year '26 because in my opinion, they're gonna be too busy trying to learn the job.
Is there extra training that would happen in fiscal year '26 that we need to make sure there's enough money in the training budget for? Or should this what's
No,
here
I put
cover
in,
that?
for '26, I put in, for the two, and actually, I got thinking about it after I did it. When these people become the town clerk and the tax collector, it may happen in '25, fiscal year '25. It may happen in March of next year, that they go to the town clerk and the tax collect training, which I put into '26, but it should happen sooner than, it's when they, and I'm not sure how often they run those trainings.
Okay.
But I did put all the trainings, the conferences, the spring workshop into the training and conference.
Okay.
That was confusing, huh?
No, I think I got all the numbers. I know nobody else did. Nice way to
Any questions?
More of a logistical question. We are very happy that you were able to step into this particular situation, so thank you very much for that. What can we do as a town so that if this kind of happens again, is there anything we can do to be proactive about this?
Well, typically, you have the town clerk and deputy. And when the town clerk leaves, the deputy steps up. And then the deputy steps up and you find someone else. Unfortunately, that didn't quite work out.
And it happened years ago, when somebody was elected, they were the town clerk, tax collector for a very short period of time. And they said, okay, that's enough.
Are we back when I came?
Yeah, yes, this is
This is
turning
like-
back the pages a few
This is
years.
deja vu.
Yeah,
When I applied in 2006, I don't know whether many of you remember Penny Stetson. Penny resigned, or not resigned, she retired, and another person, her deputy, moved up. That deputy got an assistant, or no, that deputy who turned into the town clerk then had a deputy, and then, from what I understand, she fired the deputy, and 2 weeks later, she quit. So the town again called
Penny.
my predecessor, Penny, and said, will you come back? Which she did, and so this is kind of like a, but that was what, 20 years ago now.
That's a few years ago.
But unfortunately, that's, because the training to become able to work in the office by yourself can be anywhere, it depends on how you can consume it all or understand it all, but it takes 5 to 7 months to get somebody that can be actually on their own. So unless, I guess other answer to that is if you wanted to have an assistant who, you'd have the town clerk, the deputy, and then an assistant, and then the progression could work. But then you're paying for 3 people as opposed to 2. Good question, but
it puts us in a bind. If we didn't have you, we'd kind of be
to be honest with you, I'm not sure. I never asked the state what would happen.
I know
Do they have loaners?
Some towns in the northern part of the county, this has happened in the past year, and the Secretary of State's office has allowed other towns to cover. For the town of Milton was the latest one. They actually closed their town hall for a while, and you had to drive to the town next door to register your car or your dog. But you have to convince the town next door that that's something they want to do.
And then did they give the money back to the other town?
Yeah, I'm not sure of the exact financial arrangements, and I'm sure there was some fee for the transaction, but yeah, it was overseen by the state to make sure it happened, so people could register their vehicles at the very least.
So we'll just have to make sure that Linda doesn't ever move out of town.
Very nice to her.
Yes.
We should give you a nice tour anyway.
I think it should be very nice for you.
Everyone has been very, very, very kind. It's, because I feel bad when people have to wait, but I'm the only one that's doing the work, and if there's a transaction that kind of goes wonky, people have to wait. But everyone in the town has been really great.
That's good.
When Liz talked about the machines for the election, I was kind of struck by the fact this is a big election year and the state doesn't appear to be putting any pressure on us to get these new machines.
Well, from what I understand, there's one machine that's been approved, another machine that, no, because the machines we're using right now are certified. And as long as they're certified, you can use them. But because the machines that we're using are so old, I was reading her notes and I forgot to bring it with me.
There's a parts issue if anything goes wrong.
It's like old cars, you can't find the parts. But they are still certified right now.
So they're not pushing us.
Linda and I certified them with the certifying guy in August, when that was the inspection.
Oh, he was inspecting, yes, he
Yeah,
was.
but the state Linda's right, the state has approved one version. I believe the second version they tested in this last election and haven't given a review of their findings, but I don't think there was any problem. But the ultimate, at some point it's coming that we are going to have to do this, and it's likely to be a year or two, is my understanding.
Yeah, and
And there's gonna be 2 choices.
My other question was, I'm still trying to get around the election total dollars for and I think you were just saying that, I think your budget as it exists now is worst case, has 3 bodies in it, right? It has the tax collector, the deputy, and the assistant.
For the months of July to December.
Right, so
yes.
we actually have 3 bodies
there are, yes,
reflected in here.
yes, there are
Okay.
3 bodies in here.
Okay.
Hopefully one body is going away.
But that one body has to stay long enough to get the 2 new ones on board.
So yeah, one body is training, hopefully is training, and there are 2 learning. So at some point, yes, the deputy will, wages will be totally less the faster I can move out.
Are you looking for an assistant now?
To be honest with you, at this moment, no. I am focusing on getting the office back in order. Then we've got the election coming up, absentee ballots. We also have the tax rate coming, which means the tax bills have to go out. So I haven't talked with Andy, but I'm assuming that after, well, no, I didn't assume, I told him, I'm not even available until after November 5th. So I believe after November 5th,
We had a potential prospect, but unfortunately, she's taking another town position. It was.
And
Within our town?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So she's a good prospect there, too.
well, and that's just it right now, the deputy, and then, so I'll just say this too, is that the deputy has to be, the town clerk, tax collector, and the deputy have to live in the town. Cities are different, but they have to live in the town. If we can't find someone within the town, or someone within the town doesn't apply, we can look elsewhere, just post it elsewhere, but they would only be the assistant. And the town still needs a deputy, so I would be willing to be deputy, but not working. But so the first is to find somebody in town. And then I guess I'd say the second choice is to find an assistant. And as long as I live in the town, I would be willing to still be deputy and help out or whatever,
If I
but
keep doing this, you might consider moving, right?
She's gonna move out. Don't give me ideas.
I'm sure there's nothing
So
that she
hopefully
hasn't
we
thought
have
of.
some prospects that might be
Yes,
within the
and
town that we can,
And I think we'll put that out, well, very shortly, I guess to put out that people can send in their resumes within the town. And then Andy can talk to
at
them.
least start on that. Yeah.
I'm not
Get
gonna
the
know whether
ball
they're
rolling.
qualified, but.
See if someone will apply.
Are there any additional questions for Linda?
All right,
So,
thank you.
Thank you, I'm sorry this was kind of
very much.
crazy, but hopefully things will change before you finish and you'll have somebody. Thank you for your time.
I'd like to welcome Dean Rubin, who will be reporting out budget for the Sustainability Committee.
I think I'll try at the table sitting down here because
The yellow highlighted ones are not here tonight.
Oh, okay. Because we got something from Energy, so I was confused.
Hi, I'm Dean Rubin. I'm here. Good to
Energy
see
is
everybody.
here.
I think we can get done in less than 10 minutes. The Sustainability Committee has been going, I think, about 8 or 9 years now. I've been on it since the founding and have been chair for the last 2 or 3 years since Paul Gazowski retired. And we keep going along, mostly, not spending money, writing articles, encouraging people to recycle and compost, that sort of thing. Our last complete year, which I guess is 24, we spent about $400, and I think $250 of it was on the Maiden Lee Artisan Fair, which the expense was on the signs, mostly on the signs, and it worked really well. We increased attendance at that from 175 to 375 people through the door, so that was pretty exciting. This was the first year I ran it, and I bought the signs. I also, the fire chief told me to get crowd management training, so I had crowd management trained, so in case of fire. We're supposed to evacuate and then get the fire extinguishers. What we did spend money on, besides the signs, was compost bins. We're trying to encourage people to compost. To the extent that people compost at home, it actually saves the town money, keeps the food waste out of the landfill bin. If they compost with the town, it actually costs the town a little money, but we still encourage it. You guys are the budget committee, so I can tell you that the last I ran the numbers with Steve, the additional cost to run the composting program was $750 a year or so. So not a super big amount, but not zero, which would be my preference.
How many
That's
pounds? Yeah, how many pounds?
It's
is it for
basically about 2.5 tons a month. So
So it's
30
about-
30 tons for the year, costs about, it costs 18 versus 14, so it costs about 30% or maybe $25 per ton extra, so that's 30 times 25 is 750.
That it's actually costing,
It's
it's taking away from the savings, taking it out of the, putting it in the trash.
That's extra money, yeah, that's the difference, that's the extra cost to the town to not throw that food waste in the municipal waste bin, but to throw it in the compost bin and have Mr. Fox drive it to Maine.
So encourage home composting.
So yes, we do try to encourage home composting, and we also try to consider programs where we don't have to pay Mr. Fox. And, you know, we were throwing around the idea we called Table to Farm, which was basically, as a bunch of farmers who could actually use that food waste and make compost. Many of them already do compost. So that's, you know, that's a possibility for a program. The negative on that is, as always, legal liability. Nobody's tried this exact program to my knowledge, but there was a town in Vermont that was making compost out of, you know, collected town waste, and it turned out to be poisonous to plants, and it cost the town a bunch of money. And obviously, we don't want to be involved in any situation like that, especially to save a lousy $700. So we're not actually recommending that at this time, though. If we could, you know, I could imagine something where we work it with the lawyers and the farmers sign something and that liability goes away. It's not like we're distributing compost, you know, willy-nilly. But anyway, it's a relatively small amount of money, but that's the economics on that part. What else did we do? We gave away compost bins, we had the fair, we had some programs set up for the Lee Fair, but of course that didn't happen again, so save some money. So that was the last complete year. We spent about $400. I don't think we've spent a penny yet this fiscal year, and you know, we're cheap Yankees, we won't spend it unless we have a good reason to. And so we're asking for you know, $1,000 for the next year, which seems to be more than cover our expenses. Any questions?
We're good?
If the 30 tons is correct, we get charged $84 a ton, so that's $2,520 minus the $700 of expense, so you're saving a little bit of money.
No, it's, no, the,
750 is in.
that 750 is basically counting $25 per ton extra to dispose of
It costs more.
waste with
More than the
Mr.
put in the
Fox.
bin.
So yeah, I didn't calculate the,
Oh.
that's just the
Okay.
additional, that's just the incremental amount to run.
So it's costing,
So it's something about $80 a ton for municipal waste,
84.
84, depending on how you count the hauling and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Mr. Fox, the last I heard, and Steve would have the latest numbers, was $18 for one of those 66-gallon bins, which is
Okay.
approximately 400 pounds when Steve loads them good.
Yeah.
And so, we basically get 12 and a half of those a month, so, which is 2.5 tons. That's the numbers back of the envelope, and these are fairly old numbers because I haven't gotten the latest information from Steve for a long time.
So 700 is the differential, it costs us $700 extra than.
It's basically 700 a year, 750 a year is my estimate of how much extra, plus whatever staff time to you know, wash bins, plus there's a plastic bag expense, which I think is relatively minor.
Thanks.
Not our budget, Steve's, this is obviously all transfer station. I'm also the chair of the technology committee, if we're doing that next.
Sure.
Great. Here's the technology committee is, like I have said here, we currently we got our $1,000 last year. Thank you very much for that. We have not spent a penny on that. The plan is to spend that money to improve the quality of meetings, of the video and audio for the meetings here. We had a member who was kind of the expert who was working on that, but he's kind of gone AWOL. We have Jen as a non-member who's been helping us, and we really appreciate that. So besides that, we're also working on getting the committees around town to use our Microsoft shared space. So far, at least according to this, we have the Conservation Commission, the Greeters, Heritage, Housing, MTAC, and Sustainability. Signed up. I know MTAC and Sustainability and the Greeters are big users of the town's shared space. And those other committees at least have worked with us to set it up, but I haven't really checked how much they're actually using it. And we're open for business, so if any other committees want to get involved with the shared space, we will set it up for them and help them in any way we can. We're glad we got the responsibility now shared with our town administrator, so pretty much we don't have to involve him with anything, which really smooths the process of getting things done. Not the town administrator, but I mean the IT administrator. Mr. Gagnon, right. Like I said, we haven't spent any money yet, and any money we do spend would be dedicated to making select board meetings better, and meetings in this room better. And I guess if Bob doesn't come back, that will be my project to work on. The other thing that Jen is working on with us is, which doesn't cost any money, is to update our electronic communication policy, which is kind of obscure at this point and seems to be hiding in a drawer in Denise's office and not really publicly posted. So there's a whole bunch of interpretations of what it is. But anyway, that's the other thing that the committee is working on. And that's all. Any questions on technology? We're happy to work on other stuff. You guys ask us, both these committees are advisory committees to the select board, so anything you guys want us to look at, we are happy to.
Well, one of the things you could do is, do you have an inventory of all the IT hardware that the town has?
I do not have an inventory.
I do.
It would be interesting, I don't care who does it, but it'd be nice to know in terms of the projected life of each one of those pieces of equipment, so we could budget for it going forward. So for instance, in terms of PCs, X number of years, we need to replace them. Servers, printers, stuff like that. It'd be nice if the MTAC people could go through the inventory and do a little kind of estimating in terms of how long those particular things have a life and what it would probably cost to replace those. That would be nice.
We would be happy to.
I can certainly get you that. That's Steve Gagnon and I sit down at least once a year and go through what we got, what we see as replacement needs. And
Kind of dovetails into what they do for us, so.
Yep. I can certainly get you a copy of that.
We would love to look at it and happy to provide our 2 cents. Anything else? Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome the most patient soul in the universe, Don Anderson. I'm so sorry.
No, that's
Thank
okay.
you.
No problem. Lou Grondin, for those who don't know, was indisposed because of the accident over on 125, but he was able to give me a call and say, could you please present this? And I said, I'd be happy to. The Energy Commission has been very busy this year, a commission as opposed to a committee, which enables us to add more people to the commission if we're able to. We're looking actively for additional people to become part of it. Have a very small budget. 2 items that we've requested. One is for membership in Clean Energy New Hampshire. It's an organization for education and involvement to statewide initiatives that are going on. And it's been very helpful when we've been able to have people come in and talk to us about it. The other $250 is for an energy kit, which I think was in this past years, and we may still come to a conclusion on it, but the energy kit is for the purposes of getting something pulled together that people can use, residents can use to evaluate their home for energy usage. So that's still in there, and those are the two items, both of them $250 budget request. Any questions?
So what is in this energy kit? What is it?
That's why we have, that's why it's
Oh,
still
okay.
in there, because we're having trouble determining two items, basically. What will work well, and secondly, what are people comfortable to use if they take it voluntarily out of the library.
So it'd be something that the library would loan out and people would do whatever they need to do and then bring it back?
Exactly.
So like a meter to see how much electricity?
How much is being
Right.
used.
Alright.
And that's been one specifically discussed, but it was a little more complex, all the
Okay.
ones we've seen so far.
Okay.
That wouldn't be easy to use.
A thermal reader maybe or something? Right.
That's another one that's been discussed, and we've been cautioned by experts that, you know, people will misread it, and we'll be trying to make changes that they probably shouldn't be making, so.
As a result, yeah.
I would note that the $250 membership in Clean Energy New Hampshire Clean Energy New Hampshire has paid for that 1,000-fold in the past year. At least two of the grants that we got were sparked by Clean Energy New Hampshire calling attention to what was available and helping do the paperwork to get some of the grants we got. So that is well worth it.
There you go.
Any other questions? Well, thank you very much for the time.
Thank you very
much.
Appreciate it. And by the way, the commission is very happy how quickly the select board switched over from Standard Power to the coalition based on our changing the recommendation. I know that the responsiveness was great to see. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, do we have Jen Messiter for the League Readers Committee, please?
And Judy Blanchard.
Duo.
And Judy, who, please?
Belanger.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jen Messer. I'm Judy Belanger. And we are from the Graders Committee. So for the past couple of years, I believe we've received $500. And we've mostly been spending those on welcome gifts. This is a small part. We also have been purchasing recycle bins from New Hampshire the Beautiful. And we had been distributing the gifts through the town offices. That's been switched to the library because of the changes that have been happening to the offices. So we're going to continue handing out gifts. We're hoping that when people do go to the town offices for the first time, that they'll be pointed in the direction of the library so that they can get the gift and basic information. Library card. Oh, and a library card, yes. Hopefully too, yes. And basic information about, you know, the town website and resources and, you know, what's what in the town of Lee.
So the money would be used for purchasing the bags and for purchasing the stickers. We get a lot of things donated. This particular bag has honey from Baby Miller. It has some goat milk soap. It has magnet with all of the pertinent information on it from the library. It has something from the Ag Commission, and it has resources for people to look at. We have in the past purchased from Lee businesses, gift certificates and things. So we're supporting the community and welcoming new people to our community.
So we were able to do a little bit of fundraising at the Family Fun Day, not as much as we had hoped. So instead of asking for the full 500, we're asking for 450 for fiscal year '26 to continue this work.
Can you ladies, how many people did you greet in this last whatever period that you have in?
According to Liz, we were doing between 10 and 15 a month.
Really? Wow.
So it has been a couple of months now that nothing really, since Liz left, the town office has not been able to do it for us. I asked Haley at the library if it would be something that we could take on, and she said yes. So we will be writing a welcome letter and directing people to the library to stop by and pick up their gifts, and we will track it at the library. We'll begin tracking it there again also.
Okay, good.
How do you find out who the people are?
So when they go in to register their car, so the way it had been done was when they go in to register a car, Liz would let them know, welcome them, and let them know that we had a lead greeting committee, and they would be given a bag, and they could choose whether or not they wanted the compost bin. They're big, nice big green, not compost, they're big recycle bins. They're nice size recycle bins. So about half of our money has been going to purchase those.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, goes to the bags and the stickers and gift cards. What we are planning to do now is that we have been writing up a welcome letter that we will be leaving at the town offices. And that letter will direct them to, will welcome them and direct them to the library. So we'll see.
Is there another way to track that? Like, people, like Karen knows people, like,
Knows everything. Karen and
people that
Denise
move
are
into the
pretty-
town, or you, or whoever?
Karen and Denise are both very cognizant of the greeters, and if they
Yeah.
run into people first, I know are steering them your way, but I think the most effective way is to get everybody is when they come in to register
To
their dog and
register.
change their car registration.
Register to vote, register, all that kind of stuff.
It's something we could request to go into the e-crier too, the welcome letter, then if you're new to.
Yeah, that would be
If
good.
you're new to me, and reach
Yeah.
out that way too. It's definitely something that we could.
I think you have to have pretty regular presence in the e-crier, I believe.
Try.
We can certainly put a link to the specific letter too.
We were at the Family Fun Night, we talked to a lot of families, new and old, about what we do.
We have
Is
somebody interested in the sustainability committee.
Oh,
So
send them
we're
over.
making connections with Dean.
See, that's the thing, you probably have a list of all the different groups and so forth in Lee that you give the new people and so forth.
Do you have a Facebook presence?
Not
Not
yet.
yet.
Okay.
We're, up until a couple of days ago, we've been two.
Is it just the two of you?
And
Now
then we're
four.
up to four now.
Oh, good.
Right.
Yeah.
We work, we work full-time and do the best we can.
The reason I asked was sometimes you'll see the most amazing things on Facebook about people that are new to the community, like, when do they pick up our trash?
Right, yeah.
I mean, there are things that people move into the community don't. and
Yeah.
they
I do
don't know.
follow the Neighborly, and when questions like that come up, I'll say, here's the town, and here's the transfer station, and things like that.
Who's your
And it's a
member?
great place to meet people and talk.
Tina's on
Yeah,
your group.
Tina and Georgia are
Oh.
our two new
Okay.
members.
We don't have anyone from the town representative like Liz, like we did before.
Yeah.
So that,
Okay.
Yeah.
Tina just
So,
joined.
looking for people.
We are always
Yes.
looking for people, yes, with new
So
ideas.
it might be something that I'd like to help with. I don't know how much time I can give, but I would,
You tend to meet once a
know.
month?
well,
I'll be
that's
calling
probably
Denise tomorrow
doable.
to figure out when that is.
Yes. I don't know when we're meeting in October and November, but we usually meet once a month.
So I'll just get you my contact information or whatever, I guess.
Do we have, oh, I didn't put our Gmail address on here. We have a website, a webpage on the town site,
Okay,
and our Gmail address is on that.
Email, okay.
Yeah.
Town graders. We'll look it up.
Yeah, it's like Leonage Graders.
Is there a reason they're not using the SharePoint email address? Didn't that come as part
Oh,
of
let
the
me
technology?
address that here for a second.
I was
We have been
getting
getting the people on the site, but not giving them email addresses,
Oh,
because
interesting.
email addresses come at a cost to the town of, I think, $60 a year or
Oh,
something.
never mind then. Keep using
There's a
Gmail.
monthly
No email for you.
Plus, we got set up before the SharePoints.
I really was like capturing if you're on the end.
What is it, lead graders?
It's probably something like Leonage Graders, but
Oh.
something like that. If you go to the webpage on the town site, it's right there.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
and I checked that date.
Just in time.
Good.
Tom Murdoch.
You
You too.
Any other questions?
This is great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thanks.
Did we have one more, right? No, just an addition. There is an issue in terms of right to know, so if that's a committee of the town and it's a private email address.
It is, and I have, I put a social archiving program into place, and I believe I have that email. And most of the other Facebooks attached to that now, so I'm collecting and archiving anything that
And
happens.
that
on
fulfills
this.
the requirement for, okay.
Yes.
Here you go, friend.
Thank you.
And I'm supposed to be the select board representative, but
If you get-
they're usually at the same time as the select board meetings. So
Or is it you pop in afterwards, right?
I pop in, wave, hello afterwards.
I was gonna take off, but if you guys wanted the technology committee to move the committees onto
Oh, no,
the
I
email,
didn't realize that it was extra. I thought it was just a part of it.
we would be happy to do it. I don't know if Scott's concerned about
Well, he just
archiving.
addressed my concern. He's taking care of that.
I think the social archiving that we put in place, we've used base emails that are outside of the town's email and plugged those into that, so we're actually able to retain and archive anything and everything that goes on with those, including Facebook sites, web pages. We have a number of groups that have a separate, free and clear of the town's website page that we have on that now.
Probably wanna add MTAC if you don't have that already.
I believe we do have it, because you had sent me the email address that your account was created with, and we'd added it, but I will double check.
Okay, very good.
And I can just run the whole thing by you as well, so you can take a look at it and tell me what you think. It's a Civic Plus social archiving
That sounds great.
program for municipalities, but
Yep. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nadine,
All right. I'd like to
Dawn.
oops, sorry. Welcome Dawn Jeans, please, from the Conservation Committee.
Hi, hopefully you've got our request in front of you. Looks like this.
Green
yes, green.
on the side.
And I've used the same format for the last 4 years or so, because I broke it into the major areas of what we do. In item A, we are responsible for the resource inventories of the town, and actually, right now, we're a week away from getting the first draft of a natural resource inventory that is being done by Stratford Regional Planning at no cost to us, because a Scatica Region Estuaries project paid for that to get done. So hopefully that'll be good. We've had some public meetings in the spring and the survey, so all of these things will start coming together. But no request there, because we're looking forward to the maps and the information from that. We do a lot of education work, and so a couple workshops a year, and we also send a kid or two to conservation camp. This year we were able to send 2, and have cute little letters. They were very young. One of them went to the mini camp, which was just a couple days, but they wrote us thank you letters, and we hope to keep doing that every year. That's at the Barry Conservation Camp that Quantric Extension runs. The largest category is in item C, the stewardship for the conservation lands. We have been doing a lot of work on town-owned land, and you've probably experienced some of the great trail improvements, new trails, new footbridges, we have a gangbuster great committee and relatively young, as committees go, high energy, so they're really getting things done. But it started back with the pandemic and everybody being home, and they came out and everything was getting beat to death. So we have done a lot of really good restoration work and getting things in good working order. Keep checking things off the checklist of more improvements that need done. We also have costs associated with stewardship. We're finding that we need to be spending some money soon over, like, can't find the pin where the corner is. When we're doing the monitoring of things, it tends to be what happens with the neighbors, that if there's going to be a conflict, it's somebody spilling over the line and they don't know where the line is, or on one occasion on private property, they cut 14 trees across the line, so these things happen. Town-owned land we would pay for, and then with the private lands, we're also finding that there's a couple pins that abut town land, and but finding survey work right now is really hard for someone that will do it. And when we did some work, we did the Durgan line last year up off of Rita Lane, and luckily we were able to get it done. I'm trying to remember if it was it kept into the twos, something under 3,000.
Yeah.
But we had bids of 8 and 16,000, so it was, it was all over the map. But we got that work done, and that was Peter Landry, I believe, that did that one. Anyway, so we have things that come up, and it's usually boundary issues. We also we're going to do a couple test runs with doing some of this by drone, because we have a couple properties that we bushwhack our way through, and every year we get older, and every year the weeds get taller, and it gets harder, and so we're like, there's got to be some better way. So we're kind of going to experiment with a couple this coming year to see if that's a possibility. And I want to point out over on the green part is, the hours that we spend. We are very active and we have a lot to do, and there's 30 some private conservation properties in addition to the town-owned lands that have trails on them that we are working on. And a lot of time goes into that. And that's, there's a value. This number comes from what's published, and I gave you the website down below. Every year they keep track of what that hourly rate is of the value of a volunteer. Some towns, I wanted to mention this in this category, because some towns have gone to where they're contracting out the monitoring of the surveys. We still do it as volunteers. So you get a lot of bang for your buck when you're supporting the Conservation Commission. The last one is then just the partnerships. We maintain memberships with New Hampshire Association of Conservation Commissions. Great resource for us, good source of webinars, and if we go to the annual meeting, the breakout sessions, we can learn a lot there. So that supporting of those other organizations. TOA is Timberland Owners Association, American Chestnut Foundation, Southeast Land Trust, Society of Protection of New Hampshire Forests. They're all partners on some of the properties that we do. So registration fees, and so that's the bulk of our request, as you can see, is for the conservation lands that we are responsible for. So hopefully you'll find favor with that. If I can answer any questions. Yeah.
What was the fiscal year 25 budget request?
Fiscal year 25, we knocked it back last year. We had only asked, all right, so we went from 7,000 to 10,8, 10, pretty much 10 even, 9, almost 10. And then, so this is a request over last year. We probably were a little, scrimped a little too much last year. Probably should have kept it pretty evenly around the 10s, but in looking at I have actually a list of some of the things that we hope to get done, may or may not get done in this fiscal year, but we have a backlog of about $20,000 worth of work that needs to get done, as I mentioned, with trail improvements, boundary issues. It all depends on what the surveying costs come in for some of these things. Poison ivy control down at the canoe launch at Wiswall.
Okay.
So
What was the 25 number?
the 20 number?
25. Fiscal year 25. So you've got fiscal year 26 on here of 11,000.
Oh, fiscal year 25, last year, the previous request was 9,960.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Don, my annual question, are you looking at any pieces of, any purchases?
We don't have any in sight at the moment. We have people tell us about one or two, but those are neighbors. Of course, we always work with willing landowners. But what we are, this natural resource inventory that I mentioned, when we get this and we start finalizing it, what it will do is help show us where our focus areas should be. Because we'll have so many data layers, like the Wildlife Action Plan and the Connect the Coast. There's just layer upon layer upon layer. And when you do all of that, where are the major areas in town that we should be? If we have an opportunity, we should go after those. Just because someone offers isn't necessarily going to be where we go, yeah, we need a 33rd property to go monitor. We're going to really work on trying to go after where it builds better adds to corridors, makes links, is in those high value areas ecologically. Typically, you can imagine most of the river corridors. What's interesting about Connect the Coast was they also really targeted agricultural land, because if more houses go up and farmland goes away, they've actually targeted that, and we're so blessed to have great ag lands in Lee, and so we're conscious of that relationship too, because that adds for the diversity of habitat as well. So it provides scenic beauty and many other things. So we will work on having an evaluation sheet where we can score it. Like when something comes into us or we have an opportunity, we can be able to rank it and say, it hits all the marks, or it hits some but not all, or not really in an area that does as much good.
Is your group the one that would be publicizing to people which of the lands that we either own as town lands or have easements on are available for public use?
Do we publicize that?
So there's always controversy about people feeling.
Well, people make the assumption, most lands, it's their choice that they put it in conservation and they didn't put it in public use. Each easement is different, and actually the only one that comes to mind where a welcoming, yes, come walk my land, is Misty Meadows.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, they're the only ones I ever heard of.
Yeah, because most everybody else, they love their land, they want to maintain it the way it is, they want to be able to pass it down to future generations. It's out of a love of the land that they do it. But the general public, back when we still had town meetings, I can remember that being kind of the big debate. Well, do I get to use it?
Yeah.
Well, it's keeping your taxes lower, because conservation land, only requires about 60 cents on the dollar of the taxes that are paid on it and services, whereas every house lot, needs $1.20 or more of services for the tax dollar that they pay. So, there's that benefit, the scenic beauty, the bucolic nature. We always say we want to maintain a rural character. Well, that's a good way to do it. But providing public access only if the landowner put that into their easement.
And there's no way to know that. Nor would it be it's not one of the things that your group is involved in, I guess is really what I'm getting at.
Well, see,
this is more a curiosity question than anything else.
Yeah,
Misty Meadows has always made a big deal about inviting people to their.
Yeah, and they're the only ones. It's an education thing. We're very respectful of private property rights, and the conservation lands map will show up on our, we've done some updates, and hopefully when this NRI update comes out, you'll be able to flip the pages and see the one that shows the land that's already conserved. It'll be by parcel, so you'll be able to guess on that. But we used to have the map that included the list of the names, and we felt that made them a target.
I wondered about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we don't intend to do that again. It's not that it's a secret, it's just, it conveys the wrong idea.
Yes, so that's the wrong message.
And we're very respectful of landowners and their rights. Had a wonderful day Saturday morning with Phil Sanborn, Phil Jr., Jen, Dave. It was awesome. 92 years old, Phil's out walking the line with us. Yeah, it was great.
Could you fill the group in, another facet of things that you guys do is you give comments on things that come through the ZBA and the planning board?
Yes.
Could you, because some people might know it already, but some people don't. It's another facet of what you perform.
Yeah, actually, you're right, I didn't really capture that in this list of some of our things we do. Down in D, partnerships. Provide input to the zoning board and planning board. We are asked to comment, and so we do site walks. And, we'll talk to the developer, whomever it is, the contractor, find out what's going on. We're providing input, but these boards can take it or leave it. So we have no veto power or any of that kind of stuff. We provide our opinion over what the impact might be to resources, and then they do with it what they want. But yes, that requires, we have a lead person for pretty much all of these activities that we do. So, we've got a lead person that takes care of that and, marshals together our site visits and pulls together the letters that we send to the whichever board. So,
Emails that.
anything else? Okay. All right. Well, it's our pleasure to serve you, and hopefully you can support our efforts.
Thanks, Don.
Thank you very much.
Listen to your lead entry email.
May I have a motion to adjourn?
Second,
You need a motion first.
Yeah.
motion.
Second.
I thought she was motioning.
She could motion, yes, but she was asking for one.
Thank you very much. Is there any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Fine.
Yay.
I think I did.
Thank you.